"Excuse me, how much does this car cost?" A young, confident-looking employee glanced at the elderly man from head to toe. Noticing his faded clothes and worn-out flip-flops, the employee stifled a laugh, but his voice dripped with mockery as he replied, "This car is expensive, old man. Over 5 billion VND. Do you have the money to buy it?" It was a sunny morning, with sunlight streaming through the large glass windows of a luxurious car showroom located on a bustling street. Sleek, shiny cars of various designs and colors were displayed under bright lights, creating an extravagant ambience. Inside, employees dressed in elegant suits held iPads and greeted well-dressed customers stepping out of luxury vehicles parked right at the entrance. From afar, an elderly man, over 70 years old, with a thin frame, slowly approached the showroom. He was wearing a faded shirt, uneven pants, and old flip-flops. His quiet demeanor contrasted with the sparkle in his eyes as he admired the expensive cars displayed inside. The man paused at the large glass doors, taking a moment to observe the luxurious interior before stepping inside. Several employees glanced at him, their expressions filled with judgment. The man stopped in front of a sleek black SUV, his gaze fixed as if evaluating it. After a while, he walked toward a group of employees chatting nearby and, in a slow but clear voice, asked, "Excuse me, how much does this car cost?" One of the younger employees, still brimming with confidence, once again scanned the elderly man's modest attire. Suppressing his amusement, he replied with disdain, "This car is very expensive, over 5 billion VND. Do you really think you can afford it?" The elderly man showed no anger, responding calmly, his eyes still fixed on the car. "Yes, I want to buy it. Please provide me with the details." His words caused the young employee to hesitate for a moment, but he quickly burst into laughter. Another colleague joined in, looking at the elderly man with mockery. "He's probably just here for fun. Cars like these aren't for everyone," he said. Still unfazed, the elderly man repeated calmly, "Please get the details for me. I'm not here to joke." Instead of responding, the group of employees turned their backs and resumed chatting. One even muttered loudly enough for the man to hear, "He must be dreaming, just here to look around for fun. No rich person dresses like that these days." The elderly man quietly returned to the black SUV, his eyes calm and unwavering. After a few moments of waiting without anyone returning to assist him, he slowly walked to the reception desk. Another employee, engrossed in her computer screen, glanced up briefly, her face showing impatience. "What do you want now? Haven't the other staff already spoken to you?" The elderly man smiled, pulled a phone out of his pocket, and calmly replied, "It's fine. I'll handle this myself." He dialed a number and raised the phone to his ear. Though his voice wasn't loud, it carried authority as he spoke. "Hello? I'm at the central branch of the showroom. Come meet me here now." Nearby employees exchanged puzzled glances, their curiosity piqued. One whispered to a colleague, "Who is this old man calling? He looks so strange." Another employee scoffed, "Probably just pretending to make a call to put on a show. Ignore him." The elderly man put away his phone and took a seat on a sofa near the entrance. His calm demeanor stood out against the dazzling surroundings. A few customers began to notice him and whisper amongst themselves, but the man remained silent, waiting. The lavish lights of the showroom reflected off the polished cars, while the staff, now fully focused on other well-dressed customers, ignored the elderly man entirely. But within 5 minutes, everything changed. A luxurious, high-end car glided smoothly to a stop right in front of the showroom. The vehicle, a rare model, immediately captured everyone's attention. A young man in an elegant black suit, exuding authority and sophistication, stepped out. Without paying any heed to the curious onlookers, he strode quickly into the showroom, his eyes scanning the space. When his gaze landed on the elderly man, he immediately walked over, bowed deeply, and spoke with respect. "Father, why didn't you let me know you were coming?" The atmosphere in the showroom shifted instantly. The disdainful glances and mocking laughter that had filled the room earlier suddenly came to a halt. The nearby employees stood frozen in shock, some murmuring to each other in disbelief. Is the old man really the boss's father? One whispered. A younger employee, who had sneered earlier, now stood dumbfounded, stammering, "The old man. He can't be." The curious stares of customers turned into astonishment. One leaned toward a companion and whispered, "I can't believe it. That old man is really the father of the shop owner. Incredible." The young man, who had just arrived in his luxury car, addressed the elderly man with a concerned tone. "Father, why didn't you call me? I would have prepared in advance. Have you been sitting here long? Did no one attend to you?" His sharp gaze swept across the employees, making the atmosphere in the showroom tense and suffocating. The staff, who had previously ignored the elderly man, now stood with their heads bowed, not daring to meet anyone's eyes. The elderly man smiled gently and patted his son's shoulder. His voice was slow but carried great weight. "I came unannounced to see how your employees work. I wanted to experience it firsthand without anyone preparing for me." The young man was surprised but quickly understood. He turned around, his piercing gaze sweeping across the staff in the showroom. "So, who was responsible for welcoming my father? Who was the closest person here at the time?" The receptionist, who had been the nearest, paled and stammered, "Sir, I didn't know. I thought." The young man cut her off sternly. "Thought what? My father walked into the showroom, and none of you welcomed him properly? Worse, you even spoke disrespectfully to him? Is this how you work?" The group of employees bowed their heads, remaining silent. The customers in the store began to whisper among themselves. Some felt satisfied watching the employees get reprimanded, while others were impressed by the unexpected appearance of the store owner. The elderly man sat quietly on the sofa. His gaze wasn't angry, but his calm demeanor was enough to make all the employees feel immense pressure. The younger employee, who had mocked the old man earlier, timidly spoke up. "Sir, I truly didn't know you were the boss's father. I apologize." The elderly man looked at him with a faint smile and replied, "It doesn't matter who I am. But as someone in the service industry, should you treat anyone with such an attitude?" His question left the entire staff in silence. They didn't dare respond, but in their hearts, they knew this wasn't just a lesson. It was a wake-up call about their behavior and professionalism. The tension in the showroom grew heavier as the elderly man slowly stood up. His sharp eyes scanned the employees, seeming to pierce their very souls. The mockery and disdain from earlier had turned into a heavy burden of regret. With a voice slow but filled with authority, the elderly man spoke. "I am the father of the store owner. Today, I didn't come here to buy a car. I came to see how you treat customers." His declaration left everyone frozen in place. The previously scornful glances were now replaced by expressions of fear. The receptionist, who had initially ignored him, bowed her head and mumbled, We really didn't know. Please forgive us." The young employee who had mocked him tried to offer a weak justification. "We were just joking. We didn't mean anything by it." But the elderly man paid no attention to their excuses. His tone grew sterner as he said, "Joking? Do you think this is a place for jokes? Customers come here not just for the products, but for the service as well. What have you done? Judging people by their appearance and making disrespectful remarks? Is this how you work?" The entire showroom fell silent. The customers, too, felt anger on behalf of the elderly man. One customer whispered to a friend, "The old man is absolutely right. These employees need to be dealt with." The elderly man walked over to the reception desk, where he had been ignored and ridiculed earlier. He continued, his voice calm but resonant. "All customers, whether rich or poor, deserve equal respect. This is a basic principle in business. If you can't understand this, you're not fit to work here." His words were like cold water splashing over the employees. Some began to tear up, while others stood silently, heads bowed in shame. The young man, the store owner, who had been listening silently, now stepped forward. His tone was firm as he addressed the staff. "Do you think this is just a warning? No. Today, I will take serious action against those who disrespected my father. Write up a self-assessment immediately. Some of you will be suspended from work to set an example." His words were a heavy blow to the employees, especially those who had mocked the elderly man. They no longer dared to lift their heads. A trembling young employee stepped forward, stammering, Sir, we truly realize our mistakes now. Please, sir, and you too, sir, give us a chance to make amends." The elderly man looked at him, his gaze filled with disappointment. A chance to make amends is only given to those who respect others from the beginning, not those who wait to be caught before they apologize. You need to understand that your attitude at work represents the face of the store. Turning to his son, he added, "Immediately organize a meeting with all the staff, not just to handle those who were at fault, but to review the entire working style here. If things don't change, the store's reputation will soon be affected." The son nodded and immediately called senior management to arrange the meeting. Meanwhile, the elderly man addressed the staff one final time, his tone gentle but firm. "I didn't come here today to make things difficult for you. But your attitude and behavior not only disappointed me, but also tarnished the brand my son has worked so hard to build." The employees stood frozen, unable to say a word. Some customers, satisfied with the lesson the staff had learned, nodded in approval. One middle-aged woman standing nearby even said, "Serves them right. Let's see if they dare to look down on anyone again." Before leaving the showroom, the elderly man said one final sentence. "Respect and service attitude are the most important aspects of business, not the customer's money or appearance. Let this be a lasting lesson for all of you." As he left, the customers applauded, creating a warm atmosphere amid the earlier tension. A middle-aged man, impressed by the scene, approached the elderly man and said, "Sir, you truly have great wisdom and character. Your son is lucky to have a father like you." The elderly man smiled and patted the man's shoulder before leaving the store, followed respectfully by his son and all the staff. They stood in silence, watching him until he disappeared from view. From that day on, the employees vowed to change. The story of the elderly man and his valuable lesson spread throughout the neighborhood. Many who heard it couldn't help but admire his intelligent and humane approach. This wasn't just a lesson for the showroom staff, it was a reminder for everyone: never judge others by their appearance. Respect is the foundation of every relationship. Thank you for following this meaningful story. If you liked it, feel free to leave a comment and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Restorations for more touching and inspiring stories. Together, let's spread profound lessons about kindness and the values of life.